children, I welcome you all to class 9, The Sound of Music, lesson 2. Today we'll be dealing with part 2, the Shehnai of Bismillah Khan. Student, think of the Shehnai. Immediately what comes to your mind? Wedding or some auspicious occasions or some festive season, isn't it? So this lesson will come to know the birth, how the Shehnai was created and how it came to know in the world, in the classical industry. As you can see the picture of Bismillah Khan, Ustad Bismillah Khan, he introduced Shehnai to the open world. Now, before going into the lesson, let us see some meanings. First one, generic name, a name given to a class or a group as a whole. Reeded, that means wind instrument which has reeds like the flute and the clarinet. Auspicious, promising to bring good fortune. Indispensable, that is unavoidable. Ensemblance, that means things considered as a group. Paternal ancestors, that means ancestors of the father. On end, that means for a very long time without stopping. Taken in by, attracted or charmed by. Sovereigners, that means things given in memory of a place, person or event. Chartbuster, that is record breaker. Celluloid, old fashioned way of referring to films. Ventures, that means projects that often involve risk. Conferred, that means given or usually an award or a degree. Coveted, much desired. Devotee, that means believing strongly in a religion and obeying its law and following its practices. Now coming to the textual part, children, can you see the picture of Pungi and Shehnai? There is a great difference, isn't it? Now coming to the text part, para 1. Emperor Aurangzeb banned the playing of the musical instrument called Pungi in the royal residence for it had a shrilled, unpleasant sound. Pungi became the generic name for reeded noisemakers. Few had thought that it would one day be revived. Revived means it will be changed. A barber of the family of professional musicians who had access to the royal palace decided to improve the tonal quality of the pungi. He chose a pipe with a natural hollow stem that was longer and broader than the pungi and made 7 holes on the body of the pipe. When he played on it, closing and opening some of these holes, soft and melodious sounds were produced. He played the instrument before the royalty and everyone was impressed. The instrument, so different from the pungi, had to be given a new name. As the story goes, since it was the first played in the Shah's chamber and was played by a nai, that is a barber, the instrument was named the Shehnai. Children, in this passage, you see the Emperor Aurangzeb, he really hated this musical instrument pungi because it made very rough noise. So a barber who had been working in this in his royal court, he improvised. That means he changed it into Shehnai. What did he do? He took a very hollow, means very blank stick, and he made 7 holes on it and he played it, and soft and beautiful sounds were produced. This is the birth of Shehnai, and the name Shehnai is given Shah and Nai. Shah means the emperor, Nai means the barber. In this way, it got the name Shehnai. Now children, coming to the second paragraph, the sound of the Shehnai began to be considered auspicious, and for this reason it was still played in temples and is an indispensable component of any North Indian weddings. In the past, the Shehnai was part of the Naubat or traditional assemble of 9 instruments found at royal courts. Till recently, it was used only in temples and weddings. The credit for bringing this instrument onto the classical stage goes to Ustad Bismillah Khan. What does it mean here? Yeah, Shehnai was used only in temples and during weddings and festive season. It was not known to the world. But the credit of bringing it to the classical stage or to the world, it was known all over the world only through Ustad Bismillah Khan. Now coming to the third passage, as a 5-year-old, Bismillah Khan played Gilli Danda near a pond in the ancient estate of Damrao in Bihar. He would regularly go to the nearby Biharji temple to sing the Bhojpuri Chaita, at the end of which he would earn a big laddu weighing 1.25 kgs. a prize given by the local Maharaja. This happened 80 years ago, and the little boy has travelled far to earn the highest civilian award in India, the Bharat Ratna. Now, born on 21st March 1916, Bismillah belonged to a well-known family of musicians from Bihar. His grandfather, Rasul Buks Khan, was a Shehnai Nawaz of the Bhojpuri King's Court. His father, Paigambar Buks, and other parental ancestors were also great Shehnai players. In this passage, children, it shows that their family were musicians. They were well-known musicians in the court. And when he was 5 years, he used to play Gilli Danda in Damrao, where he was born. And he also used to go to temples and sing Bhojpuri chaitas or some hymns, and for that he also got a prize. That is a laddu of 1.525 kgs. And this was a gift given by the Maharajas. Okay, children, the fifth passage. The young boy took to music early in life. At the age of 3, when his mother took him to his maternal uncle house in Benares, now it is known as Varanasi, Bismillah was fascinated watching his uncle practice the Shehnai. Fascinated means was very eager. Soon, Bismillah started accompanying his uncle Ali Buks to the Vishnu temple of Benares, where Buks was employed to play the Shehnai. Now, he started going along with his uncle and attending every Shehnai concerts or whatever program was going on. Ali Buks would play the Shehnai, and Bismillah would sit captivated for hours on end. Slowly he started getting lessons in playing the instrument and would sit practicing throughout the day. For years to come, the temple of Balaji and Mangal Maya and the banks of the Ganga became the young apprentice's favorite haunts where he could practice in solitude. The flowing waters of the Ganga inspired him to improvise and invent ragas that were earlier considered to be beyond the range of the Shehnai. So here in this passage, children, Bismillah Khan, as a young boy, he was very keen towards music, and he used to go with Ali Buks, his uncle, wherever he went to play Shehnai, and this has really deepened his urge to play this instrument, and he started making new ragas and improvise means new music and new ragas he started on himself and started to perform in front of the people. So Ganga was very close to him where he practiced. Coming to the sixth passage, at the age of 14, Bismillah accompanied his uncle to the Allahabad Music Conference. At the end of his recital, Ustad Fayaz Khan patted the young boy's back and said, "Work hard and you shall make it." With the opening of the All India Radio in Lucknow in 1938 came Bismillah's big break. He soon became an often heard Shehnai player on radio. That means at the age of 14, people really were impressed with the way he played the Shehnai. And once Fayaz Khan told that he is going to be a very successful Shehnai player. And soon he got a big break in his career. That is, he was playing Shehnai on the radio, on All India Radio. Coming to passage 7, children. When India gained independence on 15th August 1947, Bismillah Khan became the first Indian to greet the nation with his Shehnai. He poured his heart out into Raga Kafi from the Red Fort to an audience which included Mahatma Gandhi and Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, who later gave his famous Tryst with Destiny speech. Now, children, 8th passage. Bismillah Khan has given many memorable performances both in India and abroad. His first trip abroad was to Afghanistan, where King Zahir Shah was so taken in by the maestro that he gifted him priceless Persian carpets and other sovereigns. What do you mean by sovereigns? Giving some gifts, because the King Zahir Shah of Afghanistan was impressed by his performance. The King of Afghanistan was not the only one to be fascinated with Bismillah's music. Film director Vijay Bhatt was also impressed after hearing Bismillah play at a festival that he named a film after the instrument called Goonj Uthi Shehnai. The film was a hit, and one of Bismillah Khan's compositions, Dil Ka Khilona Hai Toot Gaya, turned out to be a nationwide chartbuster. Chartbuster means very hit song. Despite this huge success in the celluloid world, what do you mean by celluloid world? Film world. Bismillah Khan ventures in film in music were limited to two. He did not like the film industry. Vijay Bhatt's Gu Juti Shehnai and Vikram Srinivas' Kannada venture Sannada Appanna. I just can't come to terms with the artificiality and glamour of the world, film world, he says with emphasis. That means children, he got so many opportunities, he showed his talent in many platforms and all were really impressed. And he also did his music in two of the films, but he thought that the film industry is not real. It is artificial, and that glittering of the film industry he did not like at all. The ninth passage, awards and recognition came thick and fast. Bismillah Khan became the first Indian to be invited to perform at the prestigious Lincoln Center Hall in the United States of America. He also took part in the World Exposition in Montreal, in the Cannes Art Festival, and in the Osaka Trade Fair. So well known did he become internationally that an auditorium in Tehran was named after him, Tahar Mosique Ustad Bismillah Khan. National awards like Padma Shri, the Padma Bhushan and the Padma Vibhushan were conferred on him. Conferred means were given to him. In 2001, Ustad Bismillah Khan was awarded India's highest civilian award, the Bharat Ratna. With the coveted award resting on his chest and his eyes glinting with rare happiness, he said, "All I would like to say is, teach your children music. This is Hindustani richest tradition. Even the West is now coming to learn our music." Children, in this passage, Ustad Bismillah Khan was given Bharat Ratna, and he also said a message to the people over there to teach their children Hindustan's richest tradition. And music is, even the Western people are coming to learn Indian music. Coming to the 12th passage, children, in spite of having travelled all over the world, Khan Sahib, as he is fondly called, is exceedingly fond of Banaras and Damrao, and they remain for him the most wonderful towns of the world. A student of his once asked him to head a Shahnai school in the USA, and the student promised to recreate the atmosphere of Benares by replicating the temples there. But Khan Sahib asked him if he will be able to transport river Ganga as well. Later, he remembered to have said, "That is why whenever I am in a foreign country, I keep yearning to see Hindustan. While in Mumbai, I think only Banaras and the holy Ganga. And while in Banaras, I miss the unique matha of Damrao." So Ustad Bismillah Khan's life is a perfect example of the rich cultural heritage of India, one that effortlessly accepts that a devoted Muslim like him can very naturally play the Shahnai every morning at the Kashi Vishwanath temple. Children, in this passage, it said Khan Sahib, Ustad Bismillah Khan is also known as Khan Sahib, and is very close to Banaras, Damrao and river Ganga. Once his student in USA, America, asked him to start a Shahnai school in US, but he refused. He said, "Can you bring river Ganga also there?" And one more thing is, Ustad Bismillah Khan is a perfect example of rich culture. Though he is a Muslim, very religious person, but he plays Shahnai every morning in the Kashi Vishwanath Hindu temple. Once in an interview, Shekhar Gupta asked him, when India got divided during the partition of India, why he didn't go to Pakistan. Bismillah replied saying that, "I cannot leave Banaras and Damrao, which is very close to me, birthplace, and I went to Pakistan and I was there for an hour, and I said namaskaram to the Pakistanis and salam alaikum to the Indians," and he laughed. We have come to the end of this lesson. I hope you would have understood the lesson and read the lesson thoroughly.